Okay, so in my last video, we spoke about how the Mag 7 stocks are in a really bad downtrend. We have Nvidia that's not doing too hot on the daily chart and is in a downtrend. But on the weekly, we can see that it's still in a relatively long macro uptrend. And if we looked at some of the other stocks as well in the Magnificent Seven, like Tesla, we can see something very similar where if we look on the daily, we can see a pullback. We can see a pullback on the daily chart. And in Tesla's case, it's been in this area for a very long time, going back to December 2024, or you can even say that we're at the same level that we were back in November 1st, 2021. So Tesla has been going sideways for a few years. Let's also see what Meta is doing, and wouldn't you know it, it's also going through a pullback on the daily chart as well. Lower lows and lower highs. And what about AMZN? Amazon. Something quite similar. We're pulling back on the daily chart and mostly going sideways right now, but it is near that high. It's just we're having a lot of trouble breaking past that. And I think a lot of that has to do with where the S&P 500 is right now. So let me, if I could pull that up, let me take a look at the SPY here on the daily chart. And we can see that we have just a ton of resistance. And I love looking at the SPY because it gives me a view of what the market is doing. In a way, we can say that the S&P 500 is the market because it just gives us so much context. But if you would also like that context with a stronger bearing on tech stocks, then we would just simply look at the QQQs. And for the most part, it sort of looks the same as they usually do with a slight bit of variation. So what do we see on the Qs? What do we have? We have a resistance, and we can see that we have a resistance occurring here, you know, in this little area here, and here as well, and also right here. So 3 times we've come into this resistance here on the Qs, and it will be the same thing for the SPY as well. You can see us having issues just simply breaking, trying to make our way through that resistance here. And a lot of that has to do with how the Mag 7 stocks are acting and their inability to break out recently. Now, that doesn't mean that they cannot break out in the next couple of weeks or couple of months. We can absolutely break out of this resistance on a 4th attempt. However, we can also reject on a 4th attempt and make a drastic move downwards. What is also very visible is that attempting to make trades during these periods where we are basically simply going sideways can make it very difficult for new positions. This is a lot of sideways action, and for quite some time as well. If we look at the number of days that we've actually been going sideways. So if you are having trouble putting on new positions, your buys aren't working as well, or they're not breaking out for very long, one thing I need you to understand that this is due to there not being a sufficient amount of momentum from the market to help your trades push through with that market momentum. About 50% of a stock's move is simply based on market conditions. So if we have no idea about what the market conditions are, we could be in for a very hard time. And of course, you could make adjustments during these times, like taking shorter trades or simply just staying out of the market and relaxing. I certainly do prefer to relax during periods of a bear market and finally see my loved ones who I've been ignoring. But we're not quite in a bear market now. We are in this sideways consolidation. So it's important to pay attention to what we do next. However, I certainly do not have to do anything. One of the greatest skills of trading is knowing when market conditions are not favorable. And these moments simply mean that you have to put in significantly more work to get the same amount of expected value during a time when the market is really hot. So an easy thing we can do is to simply wait for the break. It's either going to be at the top of this resistance or it will be at the bottom of this resistance here. So pretty much go long if we do break the market above these highs, or go short if we do break the market below these lows. It really doesn't have to be complicating. The SPY does give you a really clear picture that, hey, the market is trending sideways. That means things will be more difficult. There are some hot sectors, obviously, that are doing pretty well right now. We spoke about hot stocks in hot sectors like SNDK, which is just an absolute monster. We also spoke about MU, which is from the same sector as well. RKLB from the aerospace and defense sector is really hot. So what are the top three hot sectors right now? I would say that would be semiconductors are not hot right now. Definitely not hot right now. Although we do have some breaking out in semiconductors, it certainly is not as hot as aerospace and defense or space stocks, as well as precious metals, and finally data storage, which is absolutely killing it. And some things that aren't doing so hot right now, software is actually being crushed by this massive downtrend that we see here on the daily chart. It's absolutely getting crushed. Obviously, the AI wave is giving everyone a new perspective on software and the ease of how a lot of things can simply just be created with a prompt. It's really having a lot of stress on this sector as well. Some other things we'll be looking to see that will be doing very well soon is stuff like quantum. And these are leading ETFs, by the way. So we have the semiconductor ETFs. They're looking pretty good. But the major focus definitely would be to be in either metals or data storage, and finally, space stocks or aerospace and defense. And with that, we'll leave it there for today. If you haven't been aware of the market conditions, what have you been feeling out there? Have you been able to put on trades that have been working? Have they been faltering? Are you getting one-day breakouts? Have you managed to identify the leading sectors in storage and metals and actually do have some working? I'm lucky enough to be in the data storage sector, and I've been trying to get into some of the metal stocks as well because they have been quite hot, especially with gold and silver. So, let me know what your thoughts are. How are your trades doing in the comments below? And I will catch you in the next one where we'll go over some of the hottest names from the hottest sectors. Peace.